I told you. And I was made fun of on a television show. I'm just telling you, Carson Beck is not very good. I saw him early in the season. He's not very tough. And now the former Georgia quarterback is reportedly going to Kentucky. Wow. This is one of the things that I put myself in a position of a father, because I've got kids approximately the same age, where if he came to me and said that Gunnar Stockton is pretty good, and Stockton, excuse me, and if my son said, I'm afraid he's going to beat me out, so I'm going to transfer, I would say, well, that's not the thing to do. But good gravy, certainly don't transfer to Kentucky, which is
wait, where did we get Kentucky? I read Miami.
Okay, either one. The bottom line is whether it's Kentucky or Miami, you're going to one of the not preeminent programs in the nation. I've heard Kentucky. You've heard Miami. We don't completely know, but either one's pretty pathetic. I mean, it's basically saying that this competition is too hard if you go to Miami. And then because you don't want to play in the SEC. And it's probably just all about money. But have some moxie. And I wonder if he was pushed out the door. Now, if you go to Kentucky, you're saying the competition's too hard because I'm afraid of Gunnar Stockton. This is not a good look for Georgia. Whether or not they pushed him out the door or not, losing a guy that was considered a Heisman candidate before the season, I mean, this may be the most significant transfer as far as a name in the short history of the transfer portal. I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could say Trevor Etienne or Caleb Downs, but this guy plays quarterback. This is a big deal. This is not good for Georgia.
I'm glad you said in the transfer portal era, because before the portal, Jalen Hurd transferred, and that was the biggest name. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Let's make the case for Miami real quick. Miami just had Cam Ward, who could end up being the number 1 draft pick. Please, Titans, don't draft him. You guys cannot draft Cam Ward.
Stop
but anyways,
talking about the Titans. I can't tell.
Miami's Cam Ward may be the number 1 draft pick. He'll at least be a top 5 pick. There is the thought that they turned him into one. I could see that with him going to Miami, because maybe he's worried that, playing at Georgia holds him back, because Georgia doesn't do, I don't know, maybe they don't, they don't beef up their quarterback's resumes enough to get drafted. That's a possibility. The other one could be competition. The other one, and I just want to say this, guys, and I've been saying this for a while. I get it, people. Every time I'm out on him, he does something to prove me wrong, like, put together the best game plan possible against Tennessee. But I really do think Mike Bobo is not that good of a coach as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but you wouldn't make this move off Bobo, because Bobo is a pro-style coach, so he's not going to hurt you. This isn't coaching. This has to be about money, or this is about one of two things: money or competition. And I will take the latter. I don't think that he thought that he could hold off Gunnar Stockton. I talked to a source in Athens that said that's the case, that Carson Beck had a big target on his back, and that Gunnar Stockton is going to take a shot and get it, Gunnar.
Okay, what about this? Is it because Hannah Cavender, his girlfriend, goes to Miami? Is he just following his girlfriend?
Well, I didn't know that, but why not?
He's in college.
I mean, also, it's not insane. I mean, these are still young kids that make bad decisions. If you're making decisions off a female or a male, if you're female, if you're making decisions off a significant other when you're 22 years old about your career, you ain't real bright. And I think that's Carson Beck's biggest problem. He just ain't real bright.
No, I agree with you overall. Now, in a vacuum, not thinking about your future, you have the choice with NIL money to live in Athens or Miami. What are you taking?
Well, you're talking to somebody who loves Miami. Like, it's one of my favorite places. But I would still want to play for the best program. Now, I'm not saying if I thought I was completely beat out, which apparently Carson Beck thinks is going to happen, yeah, I'd look at Miami. But no, I would go to Georgia, and I would stick it out, and I would make sure I beat Gunnar Stockton, And if I didn't, if I really lost my job, not I thought I might lose my job, there's a difference, then I would stay and compete. And I listen, when it comes down to the NFL, I know that people are transferring. It's not viewed like it used to be. But Caleb, I don't think it helps your draft status if you transfer around. I mean, that to me is a bit disconcerting. Now, if you transfer like after your freshman year, let's say like oh man, name escapes me. Get the kid at Cincinnati, LSU.
Oh, Joe Burrow?
Yeah, if you're Joe Burrow and you transfer after 1 year because there was a guy that beat you out, I got that. But Carson Beck has been at Georgia for what, 3 years? I mean, this is either he didn't get it done or it's just or they showed him the door. I don't know what the case is, but I ask you, how embarrassing is this for Georgia, or is it?
It's embarrassing for Georgia because, you know, the whole like touting I got a Lambo last year. Remember that with Carson Beck? And there's that. But it also, what's weird about this is just this week, we just talked 2 days ago about how they're cleaning house in the transfer portal with Noah Thomas and the Branch brothers. They're getting loaded at receiver. How could they get loaded at receiver and then Beck leave unless he thinks he's going to lose the starting job? Or did they pull an IL money away from Beck and say, we need to spend this on receivers? We don't really need Carson Beck.
I'll tell you what I was told after a quick message from Double D Piping.
Double D Piping provides full-service fire protection on any scale. From residential homes to government facilities, we can assist any customer through design, fabrication, installation, inspection, and demonstration of fire suppression systems. With 30 years of service across 5 states and a full staff with over 40 years experience, our quality can't be beaten. Don't get caught watching what you could have prevented. Call Double D Piping.
Well, I'll tell you this. There are a lot of positions. This was the concern that I got from my source in Athens. There are a lot of positions in which you can flash a Lambo. There are a lot of positions that you don't have to be the elite leader. Quarterback is not one of those positions, and they expected him to be a bigger leader. I was told that this is somewhat reminiscent by somebody that would know of Nick Saban saying, this ain't working, I'm changing the offense. This is Kirby Smart. That's why they've taken, what, 13 guys? How many guys in the transfer portal?
How many have they taken? I'm not sure exactly.
A ton. They're doing a really good job. Look that up. But they're doing a great job in the transfer portal. I think he wants to clean house of some bad attitudes. And I hate to say this, Tennessee fans, but I think this makes Georgia better. I think this is a bad sign that for Tennessee and other SEC teams that Kirby Smart is not willing to stand pat and knock on the door of a national championship. He wants to knock it down.
I'm kind of with you on that.
I mean, this to me is exactly Nick Saban hiring Lane Kiffin. You're just going
right.
You're going in a different direction because the old stuff wasn't working.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think that,
and it's not like Georgia barely lost a national championship. I mean, if they were in the national championship game and lost to Ohio State by 1, you would look at this differently.
Right. No, they lost by 13 to Notre Dame. And honestly, they were out-schemed and out-coached. And it's weird that they lost that game. Here's the crazy part. They lost that game, and we were like, oh, they need Carson Beck back. And Kirby Smart's like, no, we don't. Bye, Carson. I'm going to go all in on Gunner and just get more receivers for him. And I'm with you. I think the Lambo thing, I think there were concerns about Carson Beck's leadership from the start. I think he's very immature. I don't think Kirby Smart, put it this way, Kirby Smart never wants a Johnny Manziel at quarterback. He would never let that happen. And, you know,
yes,
that's a problem.
Carson Beck is a dialed down Johnny Manziel in every sense of the word. I'm not sure that he does cocaine. Probably not. He doesn't party nearly as much, but he definitely likes the flash part of being the Georgia quarterback, and he's not quite as talented. So basically, he's Johnny Manziel dumbed down.
He's a Diet Coke of Johnny Manziel.
He's a Diet Coke of Johnny Manziel. He's the tab of Johnny Manziel.
He's not as toxic, but he's also not as talented.